call the City of Elkhorn Common Council April 4th, 5:30 meeting to order. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Bruce Lechner,
Here.
Tim Sharota,
Here.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Here.
Ron Dunwoody,
Here.
Scott McClory is absent, Ken Minell,
Here.
Carol Young.
Here.
Next, we have public comment. Anybody here for public comment tonight? No public comment, I'll move on. We got the consent agenda. We have the council meeting minutes, March 21st, 2022, and the temporary Class B beer licenses for the Warwick County Agricultural Society at the Warwick County Fairgrounds with the attached list that was in our packets.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion on any of those items? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Did you want to?
I have to abstain.
Ken's going to abstain. Motion passed for minutes and temporary Class B licenses. Report of city officers. Mayor, the only thing I have is I wish Lacey and her crew good luck tomorrow at the election out here. The first time out in our new building, so I think it'll hopefully go good for her and everything, so good luck on that.
Thank you.
And Jim is absent, so we'll move on to new business. First, we have Resolution 22-07, a resolution to apply to participate in the National Flood Insurance Program. That's something that we have to, so people can get flood insurance if they are in the plane. We have to have this resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 22.
We have a motion. Do we have a
Second.
Second. Do you have any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed for resolution 22-07. Discussion and decision to allocate rec supervisor vacancy wages to Sunset Pool part-time wages.
Yeah, I can take that one, obviously. So this memo is just for, to let you guys know that, in short, we had some 21 lifeguards as of March 1st. And just because of the job force and everything, we've lost 4 lifeguards, and that's strictly due to the wages that we pay them. In order to try to get a full staff for this summer, I'm looking to see if we make the recommendation to basically take our allocated rec supervisor wages, which we've been without a rec supervisor from the 31st of January, and then our SAMI starts on May 17th. Take those wages to increase basically all life-saving positions at the pool by a 16% increase to meet the demand of the wages for the hourly seasonal employees. And if you guys have any questions, I can certainly answer them.
So council, you've seen the memo in your packet. Do you have any questions for?
Do you think that's going to solve the problem?
Yes, I do. I believe that will be competitive, and I think all 4 lifeguards that left will be coming back. And there's a national lifeguard shortage right now in the nation, so I know other municipalities are dealing with this, and I think based on what they're paying, we're going to be just as competitive, if not more, so I feel very confident going into the season if we can make this happen with a 16% increase.
That was, would you have 17,000 not used?
Yeah, so 17,000 not used, and then the 16% represents 14,000. So 3,000, correct.
3,000
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I'd like to make a motion to approve going to this per his request.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any other further questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Tim Sharota,
Yes.
Carol Young,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Ron Dunwoody.
Yes.
Motion passed to approve the resolution to reflect the increase in part-time wages at Sunset Pool. Next, award the bid for the CDBG close project.
Hold on one second.
No.
Did you put those 2 together? to allocate the
Yeah, number C, new for new
wages
business.
to the part-time, and then there was a separate one to adjust the resolution,
Oh, I'm sorry.
right?
We need a discussion and decision to amend part-time wages resolution to
Yes.
reflect the increase.
Yes, I'll make that motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second? Second. Roll call, please. Any other questions on that? Roll call, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Ron Dunwoody,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Carol Young, Tim Sharota.
Yes.
Motion passed to allocate the part-time wages. Okay, now we'll move award bid for CDBG close project, Americas with Disabilities Act, the ADA improvements. I'll let Matt explain what's kind of happening with this and why we have to do this way.
Yeah, you'll notice, again, we have Carter online. Carter works for MSA, the consultant that was hired to administer the project for our ADA improvements as well as the grant process. So with the CDBG funds, right now the project came in at 1.154 million. And you'll notice in the, not the letter, recommendation letter, but the notice of award, we're gonna execute a change order immediately to reduce the scope from 1.1 down to 500,000. And I can explain that a little bit in detail. So when we were awarded the grant back in 2020 for the ADA, it was based on the ADA transition plan numbers. So MSA put together a plan citywide on all the ADA deficiencies, and all of those deficiencies had a cost associated with it. And so all of those were added up, and it came up with $605,000. So that's what was originally requested by MSA to the DOA, which is the Department of Administration, the state basically, who is administering this grant through them. So MSA worked closely with DOA as the scope began to grow and change, and the number grew from 605,000 roughly to 1.2 million. And again, ADA or MSA and the DOA were in close communication, and the direction that DOA or the state was giving MSA was just continue on with the project, continue to move forward. As the costs become more real, then submit the change, and we'll negotiate at that point. So that's what MSA did. The day after we opened bids on the project, DOA sent MSA a letter saying that the funds were no longer available. So the 1.2 that we thought we were gonna get was reduced to the original of 605. Jim and I went into multiple meetings with MSA and the DOA trying to understand why the dollars that we were told we were gonna get were shifted elsewhere. We didn't get much of an explanation other than that they were concerned that the money was not going to be spent in this calendar year, which was what was the daylight, basically when all of this was supposed to be spent by was the end of the calendar year. And they admitted that communication could have been obviously a lot better. So Jim was more involved in that process than I was. It started some time ago, and I know that we were initially looking at using these funds for a senior living center, which shifted into, we couldn't afford to do that project with the funds that were available. So then it changed into an ADA project. So there's a lot of conversations back and forth between DOA, Department of Administration, the state, and MSA and us. So right now, here we are, fast forwarding. We worked with MSA to reduce the scope down to what we felt we could get approved by DOA. We're still having ongoing discussions with them. So from the 605 that we know we have, we think that we could probably end up getting another 75 on top of that, but nowhere near what we were hoping for of the 1.2. So I know that's a lot of information thrown at you at one time. I hope it's not too confusing. If there's any questions for clarification, I'd be glad to answer them. So the question before you tonight, or the agenda item, is that we'd like to, we've been in communication with Ward's office. We'd like to award the contract at the 1.154,617, and then with the understanding that we're gonna immediately jump into a change order to reduce the scope to roughly 500,000. We actually heard back from Shear today. They were our only bidder, so the only bidder that we had for this entire project was Shear. I'm glad that we had one, that way we can move forward with the project. They are more than willing to assist in reducing the scope. They're still very interested in this project. So I think that 500 that we thought was gonna be a placeholder last week, the number we got today is right there. So we're still on target to be within the grant dollars that we know that we're gonna have, because we don't wanna spend a penny over what the grant will allow us to. That was never the plan.
Questions for Matt on that? So it's kind of like the state kind of puts the fund somewhere else and go our way for some reason. Would like to make a motion to award the bid?
I'll make a motion to approve the bid at $1,154,617 with the change order followed afterwards to $500,000.
We have a second.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or more discussion?
Bruce, could I just, if you don't mind, see if Carter has anything that he'd like to add that I may have missed? Carter, if you're online, if I missed anything or if you'd like to clarify anything, I just want to give you the opportunity before the motion's made.
Thank you, Matt. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. Matt explained it very well, and that's why you probably all understand it so well. One comment, your resolution, maybe you want to say not to exceed $500,000, because we're still working out the change order for that final dollar amount exactly. So if that resolution could make reference to the final contract amount, not more than $500,000, it might be better. But other than that, that's my only comment.
Okay. Well, thank you, Carter.
I'd like to amend my motion to not exceed $500,000.
We have none. Do we have a second? Any other questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Carol Young, Ron Dunwoody,
Yes.
Tim Sharota,
Yes.
Ken Minell.
Yes.
Motion passed to award the bid for the CDD project for the ADA improvements. Next, we have discussion and decision on library proposal, the 70-30 building maintenance funding split for the lighting project.
Thank you, good evening, happy National Library Week.
Lacey took that away from me.
Oh. So a little background on this. We've been aware for a few years that a major component of our building lighting system was inadequate. Moreover, we are aware that the bulbs that are in the can lighting installations were no longer being manufactured and thus irreplaceable. So doing a full upgrade or replacement was very much out of our reach, and our usual policy was to kind of replace them as they burned out and kind of hope that not too many burn out at once. So we decided to solicit the MML Foundation for funds to fix the problem. We received estimates from Adams Lighting, Foremost Electric, and Brody Brown Electric. We presented our idea for a large-scale replacement of all the affected lighting, hopefully solving this problem in one swoop. The foundation generously agreed to fund this project, and we settled on the Foremost bid, which was at $24,242. This was selected as it provided the most economical and complete solution. It would fix all of our lighting problems and basically future-proof the library from this issue going forward. I'm here tonight because traditionally the library has split building costs between DPW and our own budget on a 70-30 ratio, which has worked very well. Since the foundation's primary goal, though, of course, is growing and expanding that fund, we were coming here to ask if the city would agree to kind of honor that agreement and put up $72,072, which would constitute the 30% of this project.
You mean
$7,272.
Yeah.
I was a liberal arts major.
Thank you.
So yeah, 7,272, and then the foundation's contribution would then shrink down to 16,969. The library, of course, appreciates the many, many times the city has stepped in to help the library, whether it's picking up the debt from the community center, or fixing our problem with flooding in the basement, or even including us in the ADA grant process. We realized this is a large sum that wasn't budgeted. We weren't able to budget for it because we didn't know it was going to happen. So we're only asking if this is something the city could do, if they would be willing to do that to kind of take a little pressure off of the foundation. The project will go forward regardless, though. I want to make that clear. Thank you. Anyone have any questions?
question I would have is for Jim, and he's not here, if there's a way to put it into the budget to make, we have funds available or not, I'm not sure.
Where the money's coming from,
Right.
basically.
You know,
Yes, I don't think that would be an issue.
not gonna be an issue?
Can we have that in detail? Why do you think that?
Where will it come out of? Is it out of the general funds or
Did you bring your
Actually,
spreadsheet?
There's a reserve, there's some in the reserve.
in the reserve? That was only my question this evening, since we had the budget.
Yep, that's why I looked left.
I can't see her down there, the things are hiding.
I think historically, the city owns that library building, and I don't think it hurts us a bit to have some skin in the game when it comes to a big project like this.
Well, it's a great resource for our city too, I think. We have a motion.
I'll return the mic.
I guess I make a motion that we approve this project and have a budget adjustment to cover the 30% cost of $7,272. That's the number.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or more discussion? Roll call, please.
Tim Sharota,
Yes.
Ron Dunwoody,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Carol Young.
Yes.
Motion passed for that. Thank you. Next, we will not be adjourning in a closed session. We do not have any updates right now with the DNR litigation, so I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.